Burst. Oh, Gragas.
Gragas, and actually, that Gragas pick doesn't
That's
surprise
probably,
me.
yeah.
Kramer's most played champion in ranked games is Gragas, and that gets you a little bit further out from the Galio poke that he does early on in lane, and it should just be a pretty passive farm lane between the two of them, both of them being quite able to sit back and farm comfortably with little danger given the range of their abilities.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a pretty safe choice. It'll probably be mostly a farm fest in that regard.
Yeah, it also gives them another way to kind of disrupt the Galio ult.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it is a pretty safe comp overall. And so
Certainly.
we're winding down here. Very interesting. They're running the double AP, so we'll have to see how that works out for them. And the protect the cog is looking pretty good. You know, Mundo provides that very, very tanky meat shield and the cleavers to slow down things. Champions getting into the back lines to deal with Kog'Maw. Dyrus, of course, has the kick to keep people away from Kog'Maw. And Reginald will be running with that Idol of Duran to keep people away from the Kog'Maw. So it looks like pretty good lineups for both teams. And, of course,
Indeed.
Dan Din picking up that Maokai. That will also, with the Maokai ult, allow them to mitigate some of the damage from the Galio ult if he can get his ult down first. So
I like how a lot of these games, we've seen a lot of Kog'Maw in this tournament, and I like how a lot of the games turn into protect the Kog'Maw.
it's all about it's all about protect the Kog'Maw, man. It is very important to keep him alive, and he has no natural escape mechanisms.
Definitely. Kog'Maw is the only carry that I know how to play with any sort of degree of proficiency. That being said, I'm still terrible, but he's so much fun, and he does tend to just do a whole bunch of damage if you let him.
Yes, well, of course. Yeah, and especially, like, let's take a look right now. Chaos has picked up Heal, and X-Special has picked up CV, so we know they're probably going to go for a very passive lane here in the laning phase, using Chaos' superior CSing abilities to just kind of farm him up and get him ready for the late game. Conversely, over here, Alistar Tristana, extremely aggressive combo, running with Exhaust and Ignite. So they're going to be going for those early kills with Tristana's early AP burst, and that's going to distract the Odd One quite a bit. You know, part of this is, you know, the Mundo is a very quick jungler and can counter jungle very effectively, but he's going to have to babysit bottom lane a little more than usual due to the aggressive combo that Parole and Bloodwater are running. And then Dan Din will have a little bit more free reign of the map and should be able the fact that they're running an aggressive lane will keep the Odd One a bit distracted, so he's not going to be able to counter jungle as effectively as he might be able to otherwise.
Yeah, won't. And so we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see a lot of running back and forth between the lanes from both junglers, just because of that. Because Odd One's going to have to spend a little more time bot lane. Dandin's going to be able to go more places. So I think every lane is going to see a fair amount of Mundo and Maokai, respectively.
I think that you are absolutely correct in that regard, good sir. And in the meantime, while we have a little bit of a break here, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors over at gaming.stackexchange.com. They are running a big contest right now where if you go over to the site, and it's a question and answer site, and if you tag your question as League of Legends and put ggClassic in your profile, the most viewed question and the most upvoted answer from this weekend will win a choice of a 27-inch HD TV monitor or a $350 solid-state drive. So you guys should head over there, ask some good questions. They run a wonderful site. They've been awesome sponsors for us, and you should give them some love, because if you like this tournament, if you like seeing these teams, and we've seen some incredible games this tournament, right, KDH?
Oh, absolutely fantastic games. This tournament has been a lot of fun to cast. It's been a lot of fun for people to watch. And the more love that gets thrown our way, the more love that gets thrown Stack Exchange's way, the more of these you'll be able to see.
That's exactly right. And they have a great site, and a lot of people have been asking really good questions. There have been some really good answers. They like very scientific answers to their questions, so you can really get a solid sense of the answer to the question that you're asking. So go ahead and check some of them out and give them some love and get some prizes while you're at it. If you also
so Stack Exchange is just a really easy site. It's a really easy site to use.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the great things about us being them being our sponsors is, like, I really like the site, so it's not hard to talk about it.
No, it's not at all. It's not a difficult thing. It's not difficult to recommend Stack Exchange. Their work they do is great, and their site is great, and it's very helpful. So do check them out.
That's right, guys. So we're going to be heading into game right now. So here we go. This is going to be game 1 of the ggClassic finals between 4-Not and the fan favorites for many a month and many a year now, actually. They've been around for quite some time, Team Solo Mid.
Indeed, indeed. So here we go. Tristana, Parole now loading. Perhaps his computer's waking up as well. Stuck at 97% here on my screen. There we go.
There we go.
Everyone is in. We are ready. Things are about to start happening. It's going to be awesome.
That's right, guys. Looks like my frame rate's dipping a little bit, so let me go investigate this right quick for you guys. Oh, I think I found the cause of the problem. So there we go. And we are back in game, and we have the good luck, have funs going down. And by the way, guys, what an exciting turn of events. So interestingly, I'd just like to point out that not only is it Din Brother versus Din Brother, but it is the kind of ex-Epic players facing off against each other on their new teams. And interestingly, you know, Dan Din got dropped by Epic and replaced with Claky D, and Epic got knocked out of CLG in the round of 8 of this tournament. Meanwhile, here we have 4-Not, an up-and-coming team. Oh, wow, X-Special going in.
Well, X-Special going into ward and getting done a little bit of damage to. He's going to have to heal. He does get that ward down. I don't think anyone busted a summoner spell there. No, and nobody did, except for Clairvoyance, obviously, but that's not a big issue. So we're going to see a ward go down there for TSM and a little bit of damage suffered by X-Special, but nothing big. I think everyone's just going to get into this little formation here that they like so much, where the line of scrimmage, as you like to call it.
I do like to call it that.
Protecting the jungles, making sure everyone's getting their buffs that they need.
And yeah, here they come. They put that ward there to make sure that he was going to be doing those wraiths and laying those saplings down. I guess they're not going to go for any kind of steal on these wraiths with that vision. They're just trying to make sure that they know the jungle route that he's going to be running.
Which is, yeah, but I think that's exactly what's going on.
So we have Gragas throwing the nice champagne bottle in there, Gragas Esquire, and now Dan Din moving into those first wraiths, and Tristana guarding the blue buff here, but we're not going to see any kind of counter jungling this game so far, and I don't think it'll be long before we do see some, though, with that Mundo that the Odd One is running. His play is very counter jungle heavy, as most Mundos have been running as of late.
Yep, and it's so easy to do. As you said, he jungles really fast. X-Special taking quite a bit of damage from that red buff, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's Soraka. He'll be able to heal it up relatively quickly as long as Chaos can keep himself up in terms of life in the bottom lane. Dan Din immediately going to blue buff after tossing some saplings at those wraiths. No surprise, very standard jungle routes going out between both of these players right now.
Odd One just held on to his smite, though, so he did not smite red buff, so he's going to be using that immediately to counter jungle, I think. It looks like he'll probably be heading up to Dan Din's red, or maybe his golems.
Yeah, he might head up to his own red, too. We'll have to just wait and see what he does, but good eye on that smite. And looks like Odd One has picked up his red, and he is now looking to disrupt the red here of Dan Din, as Dan Din is walking into... Oh, he's just going to take it for himself, looks like. I wonder if he'll be able to get this.
I think he'll definitely be able to get it in time. It's already, yep, there we go. Dan Din, I think, noticed a little too late. Odd One is able to get both red buffs early on.
That's going to be very harmful to 4-Not's early game, and Odd One's going to go ahead and take the race as well. That's why X-Special did such a hard leash down here at red, so that Mundo, the Odd One, could also save his smite there in order to take his opponent's red in the early game.
Yep, definitely, and it totally worked out for him.
And it looks like Dyrus is coming in. We're going to see a gank here on Maokai.
Yes, we are. Maokai's getting attacked in the jungle from two sides by Mundo. Dyrus dashing over to Odd One, going to throw out the Q, doing a lot of damage, but does not want to tower dive this early, so we're not going to see a kill, but a really good movement into that jungle.
That's right, and this aggressive lane bot pushing pretty hard right now, and Mundo coming back. He's just not going to leave this jungle alone. Dan Din sticking around, but Lee Sin has gone back to lane. Dyrus will no longer be a threat to him, but his ability to gank lanes has been crippled for the next few minutes by all that damage that he's taken.
Yes, it has, and he's very, very hurt. It'll be difficult for him to continue jungling, as Odd One's just going to run back in and say, "Come here, I'm stealing your jungle."
That's right, and Maokai's going to have to head over to Wolves. Unfortunately, unfortunately for Dan Din, that is, Odd One picked up the big race, so he wasn't able to steal any of that, or especially the big one, because that's the important one. The little race give you virtually no experience or gold with his sapling.
Yeah, and that was pretty unfortunate for Dan Din right there.
And looks like Kramer and Reginald just doing a little bit of a dance in mid lane right here. Why don't you give us a little CS recap? Let's see how the lanes have been doing so far.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Dyrus 26 to Dr. Trevor's 18, so Dyrus pretty ahead there. Kog'Maw and Soraka. Kog'Maw's got 26, and Tristana has 32, so there's that. Mundo 17, 18 CS now, Maokai at 14, and Galio at 36, Gragas at 28. So the scale's tipping slightly in the favor of TSM on the CS so far.
That's right, and it looks like both top lane and bottom lane, Chaos and Dyrus getting a little bit low. We're going to have to probably see. Well, Dyrus is going back now, and there comes Tristana jumping in on top of Chaos, but Bloodwater is DC'd.
Oh, that's not good. Bloodwater is now gone from the game, as we had potential situations in both bot and mid lane where someone was going to get ganked. It ends up neither of them are, but that's very unfortunate for 4Not right now.
That's right, and you could tell that Parole was waiting for Alistar. I bet that would have been first blood if Alistar had been able to land a combo right there, so really unfortunate for 4Not to have Bloodwater disconnect. I hope he comes back soon.
I hope he shows up soon as well. I don't think we have the pause function since we are not Riot Games. I don't think we're able to have the pause function in this tournament.
Yes, indeed. The pause function is only available in the tournament realm, guys, and the rules state that if a disconnect is after the 3-minute mark, we got to keep playing. So, unfortunately, that's the reality of the situation. And now, Parole going down really quick, and they're just going to take him out. Chaos is going to get that first blood.
Chaos gets first blood right there. It's not difficult when you have a support and the other one does not. So an unfortunate reality of Alistar DCing is going to give TSM first blood.
Yeah, that is truly unfortunate here, especially in the finals game and the troubles that 4Not has had getting their team in this game. You got to feel bad for him.
Indeed. Well, the Odd One's still counter-jungling like crazy. He's going to be able to smite that big Wraith right out from under Dan Din there. Dan Din and Kramer, actually. Odd One now level 5, just harassing so much, not getting off of Dan Din, not letting him do his own jungle.
Yeah, and this mid lane here, just some more back and forth. Every time I look, it looks like it's been seesawing back and forth between whose minion wave is and whose turret.
It has indeed, and Reginald now going in on Kramer, but Odd One rolling around perhaps to help, but he's going to back off.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what 4Not's going to be able to do with their support DC'd. It's going to, of course, make that bottom lane extremely difficult, and Kog'Maw's just going to come here for a gank on mid lane, and Kramer running back. I think they might just have to let this tower take a few hits, and there's the Idol of Durand.
Oh, there's the ultimate from Galio. Kog'Maw's going to come with Bio Arcane Barrage. Mundo throws some cleavers. The Void is going down, and Reginald is going to pick up that kill. Really nice teamwork by TSM there. Odd One's going to go down, but it's an execute. So that's really great. Meanwhile, top lane, Dyrus is going to get Dr. Trevor out of the way. So three really quick kills going down for TSM.
Yeah, I mean, that's once you get one of your lanes freed up, it's very easy for other lanes to come and gank, and it just gets you further and further and further behind, unfortunately. As you saw what happened once Chaos was able to approach mid, Dyrus kill top was all him.
And he was able to just go on because, you know, as you said, 3 mid. Dan Din has been pretty crippled this game so far. Mundo having 1,800 gold total, being already 300 gold up on Dan Din.
Yeah, that's right, and I don't know what to say, guys. At this point in time, you know, that gold lead at 8 minutes has increased to about 2,000, and of course, you know, Bloodwater not getting much experience or gold in the top lane, and you can see he's already a couple levels down right now on this bot lane. And we have some more invade going on by Reginald and the Odd One here, looking to get that blue buff from 4Not.
If they take this blue buff from him now, it's going to be really, really deadly. It's going to make things really difficult for Dan Din, who is getting cleavered presently. And we see Reginald trying to keep Gragas away. And here comes Bloodwater back, so that's really good. Hopefully, Bloodwater and Parole are going to be able to do something.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's the problem with their lane comp is that, you know, that Alistar Tristana, they really have to get that early advantage. They have to get those early kills, and that's what they're building around. And if they don't, you know, Soraka and Kog'Maw is a really strong late game. Chaos has been able to farm up very effectively while they haven't been there. You know, we do see 65 CS to... Oh, Tristana's in the lead right now. That is impressive, given the circumstances.
Yes, Parole has been doing an excellent job of CSing. Even with being killed one time, he's still up in CS. So really, really nice job by Parole.
Indeed. And part of that is, of course, because Chaox chose to come mid lane for that gank, but even so, you know, that one death, it's impressive that he's been able to farm as effectively as he has underneath his own turret.
Definitely, definitely. So we're going to see Reginald up on Kramer. Reginald has been all over Kramer much in the same way that Odd One has been all over Dan Din. It's just been, there's just been a lot of pressure from from the TSM jungle in mid lane onto the Fortnite jungle in mid lane.
It looks like we're going to be going ahead and giving TSM's blue buff to Reginald right now, and Dr. Trevor's been stuck under turret against this Lee Sin from Dyrus for most of this game.
Dyrus Lee Sin has been pretty potent so far. He's been able to just hold Dr. Trevor under that turret, so that's been a masterful job by him top lane. Meanwhile, we have Bloodwater back in lane. He's at level 4 now, X-Special Soraka at level 5, so level-wise he's not too terribly far behind. But the CS battle, you know, all things considered, is going fairly well.
Yeah, and Dr. Trevor really not able to effectively trade against Dyrus right now. He has picked up that early longsword, so he's doing quite a bit of damage. Now Dan Din coming in on Dyrus.
Dan Din comes in with the root. He's going to knock him back. Dr. Trevor coming in with the lightning rush, but Dyrus is going to be able to just dash away and not really worry too much about that.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages that you have when you're running Lee Sin top lane. He's a lot safer to push the lane into the turret with than many other champions because you can just safeguard back to your minion line like that.
And he more or less has 3 flashes. So it's really, really difficult to get him in lane.
That's true. And again, this is a very passive game. Mid is relatively passive, and if that DC hadn't happened, I doubt they would have been able to get that kill onto Kramer without Chaox being there in order to engineer that gank. And
I definitely agree.
So, but we're back into the kind of play style that I think that Fortnite wanted, well, both teams really wanted to have in mid, and I don't think we're going to get that early aggression. It's already, we're moving into the early mid game right now, and we haven't seen any kills from that Bloodwater Tristana combo due to that disconnect.
Yeah, it's been really bad. It's been really unfortunate for them, certainly. And the Odd One picking up an early Oracles has not popped it yet. We have Reginald with this blue buff now. He's been in mid, and he's got a Megatron Cloak, Chalice of Harmony, and Merc Treads already, so his magic resistance is high, and his AP, as a result, is also fairly high. So we're going to see a very difficult mid lane for Gragas now.
Yeah, that's right. 161 MR right now. Dyrus looks like he was going for a little dive, but he safeguarded out right as soon as he hit that resonating strike.
Yeah, well, and you notice Dr. Trevor was ready for it. He had his ult popped and ready, but that safeguard.
That's safeguard, man. There's not a lot you can do against Lee Sin in top lane these days. I think especially as Kennen, it's real difficult to deal with him popping in and out on you, and he can just pick you apart bit by bit.
And that's really the way that a lot of these games have been going down, is people are just, it's just the little things, little tiny, like every so often coming back, hitting the tower, every so often poking the enemy champion, you know, it's just, it's the little things are whittling down the enemy teams in this game for sure.
That's right, and he has been leveling up that Safeguard and Iron Will first, so he does get about over 30% lifesteal every time that Dyrus pops that. So he's been running just for a very kind of safe lane where he can farm up and heal off the minion waves while prodding Dr. Trevor down bit by bit. I imagine that'll stop once we see a Woda. I'm not sure if this Hextech Revolver is quite enough to deal with that right now, but once we see that Woda, I'm pretty sure Dr. Trevor will be a lot more comfortable in top lane.
Yeah, I think he'll be just fine. When Kennen gets Woda, it's really easy for him to hang out and start throwing shurikens, throwing some lightning, making sure he can stay nice and topped off. So I think he'll be a lot better off when he gets that there.
Yeah, and also I might mention that Lee Sin, Dyrus has picked up Hex Drinker, so he's running for a build that will help him out against this AP-heavy mix of Kennen and Gragas. Great item for duel. Wow, we're going to see some action going on.
Yeah, we're going to see Odd One is going to get gone on by all of Fortnite right there. And Parole picking up the kill. Really nice job by Fortnite, just cornering. They had champions on every side of this bush here, all ready to get the Odd One right as he came out of that little loopy bush on the little Nike swoosh bush there on the edge of mid, and Fortnite is going to pick up the game's first dragon.
Really nicely played and nicely coordinated work there, and Dr. Trevor now.
Dr. Trevor going in on Reginald, who's going to have to flash out.
Yeah, not quite enough, though, to take him down. Of course, it's very difficult with how much magic resist he has right now. Dr. Trevor has picked up his Will of the Ancients, so he will be doing a lot better in terms of sustain. And they're going to go ahead and get this blue buff for Kennen, perhaps? We'll have to see who actually ends up with this. Reginald's going to try and Resolute Smite it, I believe.
Kog'Maw's going to try and take it off himself, but it's not going to work out. Kaoc's not going to pick that up, although he is going to do quite a bit of damage to Bloodwater just by spitting on him repeatedly. So that's unfortunate for Bloodwater, but rather fortunate for Kaox, as it seems he's going to force him out of lane.
Yeah, Dyrison managed to take the top turret while they got that dragon too. So it's going to be they are going to be a little bit ahead now. You know, they have come back to about 1,000 gold difference as opposed to the 2,000 gold difference they had earlier when Bloodwater was disconnected.
Yeah, really nice job by Fortnite not letting that DC get them down, not letting it ruin the morale. As they're doing a fantastic job of coming back into this game.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. And you know, I'm really surprised at Fortnite coming out in this tournament. You know, one of the reasons why we ran this big format and had the 24 open slots was because we had really hoped that we would see some upsets. And Fortnite has, you know, making it to the finals. You know, we had 8 invited teams, and they've just been doing phenomenally with their new jungler Dan Din.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job. Fortnite really doing some great work, and it's great to see them in the finals. And this has been a great game so far.
And we have some more counter jungle here from the Odd One, but I don't think that much is going to come over. He just pops over that wall trying to get these golems. But Odd One busting his ult and coming in.
There it is. He's busted Mundo ult coming in on Dan Din, who also had his ultimate up, but he's running low on mana. And Odd One just doing a whole bunch of damage. You know, all he has right now, cloth armor, boots, hog, no magic, and he did most of Dan Din. He did half of Dan Din's life in one little assault there. So Mundo really packing a lot of damage.
Yes, indeed, and that Smite picking up that big golem too, so he did get something out of it. And this battle between Dyrus and Dr. Trevor continues to rage on in top lane, as every time I look up, it's all of the minions on Dr. Trevor's turret.
Yep, Dyrus just pushing relentlessly, as he is wont to do, as you were talking about earlier, Lee Sin, just dashing around. And looks like he's rushing a Maw of Malmortius. He has a pickaxe and a Hexdrinker, so first item looks like he's going to get a Maw.
Very interesting. And you know, this all comes down to the not only the disconnect, but the gimping that they did of Dan Din's early game. You know, he wasn't able to gank for quite a long time. He did fall a little bit behind here. You can see he is a level down on Mundo right now, and he just was so low and didn't have the proper buffs in order to gank effectively. And that's really allowed Dyrus to push heavily in his lane without much fear.
Speaking of Dan Din, he was coming down in a gank for bottom, but it doesn't look like he's doing that. You know, we're looking at the CS score now. Kog'Maw 136, Tristan at 140. So it's very, very even still, despite Bloodwater having been gone for a very long time. And Bloodwater and Parole have had this lane pushed onto turret the entire time since Bloodwater has been back.
Yeah, and we can see that Odd One was more concerned with counter jungling than from ganking that lane, both early on when they had it pushed, you know, as long as they've been in that lane. And that's just what's going to happen. With Tristana's explosive shot, it's really an unavoidable circumstance of playing her and getting, you know, a couple points in it early, as most Tristana players do, to land that explosive shot dot on their opponents and just kind of pick them down.
Yep, Dyrus definitely getting that top turret now.
So a gank going down now on Dan Din, and he got
yes,
idle
we
with
do.
Durandon.
Dan Din getting a lot of damage put out on him, and it looks like he's going to go down to Reginald and the Ignite. But here comes Bloodwater, putting in some hurt onto the Odd One. A little bit too late to save Dan Din, but he's going to bump him out of lane. So Reginald picking up that kill now as Kramer walks back to lane.
Yeah, and Soraka, Xpecial, using that wish just to make sure that Odd One didn't die to that tower. And great work by him there. Perhaps a little bit unneeded, but you know, it's better to be safe and sorry in those circumstances and to maintain your lead. You know, it's not a very dynamic game right now. I don't think they're probably going to need it again before it comes up.
No, I don't think so either. There's been just a few key circumstances. I think you're right that every single one of these kills, I think, has come back to that early DC and the map control that allowed TSM to have.
Yeah, I also, like we were saying, the red buff taken by Mundo early game really, and the damage they put down onto Dan Din, very you know, kind of critical juncture in this game for what they were going to be able to do. And again, you know, when you have your jungler gimped and you have an aggressive bot lane like this that needs to get those kills, gimping that jungler can ensure that you are not ganked and you're not going to let them capitalize on the abilities that their team comp has.
And Dyrus coming in mid lane right now. Reginald looping around. We have the Odd One coming from the other side, so it looks like we're trying to run a a gank on mid somehow. Parol's going to take down bottom turret meanwhile, and there's some pings going down on Dragon from TSM, or at very least pinging Bloodwater. They see he's going back, so perhaps to suggest Dragon.
Well, Dragon will be coming up very shortly, but you can see Dyrus already has his Mob Malmortius, so he's going to want to get right into the heart of those fights and do a lot of damage. I imagine he'll probably go down. I mean, we'll see if he can safeguard his way quickly out of these fights, but they're just going to go ahead and take that blue and put it onto Odd One again. So this has been a game of blue stealing by TSM.
And Odd One has been all over Dandin's jungle. He's really been doing a great job of countering and just making it really hard for Dandin to do very much. We got everyone go. Dyrus jumping in on Kramer now, and we see Odd One and X Special and Reginald all coming in to join the party. Dyrus flashing over the wall. He says, "I'm not done with you yet." Comes in. We see Gragas getting out, but Bloodwater going in to save, and we're going to see Bloodwater get jumped on. Chaos is actually going to be able to pick up Kramer with that ultimate and that arcane barrage as he came in from the other side. Reginald's going to pick up Bloodwater, and Parole looks like he's going to have a really hard time. Reginald flashing in with the ultimate. He had saved it for such an occasion. There's Odd One picking up Parole, and we're going to see Odd One pick up Dandin as well. What a play by TSM. That was really well done. Reginald, great flash ulti there, saving that for that teamfight occasion, and everyone except Dr. Trevor on 4-0. Dr. Trevor, who is currently pushing top lane still, trying to get that last turret out, is not quite going to be able to do it. Really well played by TSM.
And wow, superior flash ult from Reggie right there. Really nice play to save that, as you were saying. But also, I think that 4-0 was really surprised. I don't think Dandin had any inkling that that was about to happen to him.
No, I don't think he did either. And it was just a really great play by TSM. Really great map awareness, really great team coordination. They made that look like routine. So really well done there. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for 4-0. Excuse me, for 4-0 right now. They have some catching up to do.
Yeah, and we do have a 4K gold difference now that TSM has taken the second dragon of this match. So they've got a bit of a hill to climb, but 4K at 22 minutes is by no means insurmountable. And
certainly not. I mean, and you look at Tristana right now with an Infinity Edge. So Parole doing just fine, I think.
Yeah, and that Infinity Edge is going to be so clutch. You can see that Chaos building the Phantom Dancer first. Pretty good build on Kog'Maw. He's one of the few AD carries that you can get away with that, and that's just because he can hit you for percentage health, so it does help him in order to have that extra attack speed and still be able to pump out that damage.
Yeah, it definitely does, but Tristana's going to be able to put out a whole bunch of hurt, so the next engagement is going to be very interesting, you can be assured.
Right, and the later they get into this game, the longer Tristana's range becomes due to her passive, she and Gragas are going to be able to camp towers very effectively, and there's not going to be a lot of ways, besides, more kind of Reggie flash ultis, that they're going to be able to stop them from poking them and just picking down their towers.
And it's going to be really crucial too, because if Reggie tries to do that and Bloodwater is still alive, he's not going to get away with it. So
yeah.
So that's that. I mean, and that was one of the key things that happened in the fight up near the middle bottom turret, was that they killed Bloodwater before. I mean, it was great of Reginald to save his ultimate, and Bloodwater was dead before he even had to think about using it.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, and it also helped that Dr. Trevor wasn't there to ult in himself and maybe pick up that stun while Idol of Durand was in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think they missed the bush with the ward there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that ward is still hanging out there. We see... Yes, it does look like as though it was missed. We're going to see X Special warding up the Baron now. TSM with a great deal of map control, but all of 4-0 grouped around in mid, so it looks like we might see another engagement here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, they throw down that Maokai ult just to mitigate some of the damage that is being flung their way, but this poke from this Galio right now is very formidable, and those cleavers are nothing to laugh about either.
No, certainly not. Well, Galio right now has 189 ability power with an Aegis, an Abyssal Scepter, a Chalice of Harmony, and some Merc Tread. So he's doing quite well as far as his resistances and his ability power goes. He's got 102 armor and 225 MR and 2100 health to complement it. So he's very tanky and capable of putting out quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, Odd One also building for the late game, going for that Warmogs, which will be able to stack up and get even tankier. So I guess the TSM is committed to having this game go on for quite some time based on that build. and Reginald already picking up an early Abyssal Scepter. Of course, that synergizes very well with Galio's ability to pick up AP from his MR also due to his passive.
Right, and his abilities as well lend themselves to having. Oh, and Reginald's going to get gone on. We have everyone coming in. He's going to flash out. The Kennen ultimate is going to go down. We're going to see Parole and Kramer hop over the wall. They're going to try and get Chaos down here. Chaos is ignited. He's not going to go down quite yet. He's going to put out some ultimates. Kramer going in, trying to pick up that kill, still not going to be successful. He's ignited now. He's getting ultimates put down on him. The Odd One's going to pick up Kramer, so that was not as successful there. Dan's getting tagged by Dyrus, and he's going to flash the wall, and we have Reginald chasing down Dr. Trevor now. He's laying out the Gust, and he's going to put the Smite down pretty soon. Oh no, it seems he already did use that. Dr. Trevor is slowed. There's the ultimate. It's going to be enough to do the killing blow, even though Bloodwater was able to get him out of it. Bloodwater's going to pop ultimate on the turret. Reginald's going to get exhausted. He's going to attempt the kite here to possibly pick something up. I don't know that it's going to work. Oddwin's going to pick up that kill. So trade 3 for none in that for TSM. The score now 11-1. TSM taking a commanding lead in that event. And I think we're going to see them push right up bot lane now.
Yeah, and we do have the 6K gold difference, or nearly 7K it looks like, and I'm not really sure what Fortnite could do. They got real greedy in that fight. You saw that Kramer not only used his dash, his body slam, but also his flash to try and chase Chaos down, and Chaos was pretty much far gone at that point. He was very low, but they split up. They kind of formed a line going through the jungle here, and that prevented them from doing damage and kind of allowed TSM to pick them off one by one very effectively. So a bit of a positioning mistake, I think, there by Fortnite in that fight, and some really nice work by TSM.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you saw Chaos. He was down to probably what looked like maybe under 100 HP, at least under 200 HP, hanging out after that ignite. He didn't go back. He sat there. He kept throwing out living artillery, and he did end up picking up a kill in that team fight. So, I mean, great commitment, great knowledge of what's been going, like just great awareness of the team fight by Chaos.
Yeah, this Galio pick against this double AP that Fortnite is running is really doing work. They're having a terrible time trying to kill him.
Yes, it's been, and as you saw, you know, even though Bloodwater came in and popped Reginald's ultimate almost instantaneously, it still did enough damage to take Kennen out. So, that even though if his ultimate puts down at all, it's going to end up doing a bunch of damage just because of how much ability power he's getting from his MR.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And just some more poking going on here. This is not a too dramatic game. And I'm surprised that with 11-1 kills, we're only seeing that 6K gold difference. You know, Fortnite's doing a great job of hanging in there and picking up the advantages that they can and keeping this, you know, at least somewhat close.
Yeah, Fortnite's been doing a fantastic job. I mean, all their farm scores are really good for this point in the game. They're staying together. They're not just giving up. They're not losing that morale, and it's letting them come back and do some great things. I mean, we're already seeing a four-man mid, a whole team mid push here. It looks like they're going to pick up mid turret.
Yeah, and this is the issue with Tristana's range once you get into the late mid game and the late game, where she can just poke your turrets down, especially with an Infinity Edge into Zeal, which is exactly what she has right now. It's very hard to stop her from doing damage to turrets and preventing her from taking down those global objectives with some ease.
And even Kog'Maw's having a hard time with it. You know, Tristana has the most range of any carry in the game when her ultimate or when her passive is maxed. So at level 18, so she's got, I believe it's 700 base attack range when her passive is at level 18.
Indeed, and her range right now is 667. I just went ahead and checked that, so we are getting up there.
And Kog'Maw does, I believe, outrange her when he activates his barrage. He ends up hitting like 750, doesn't he?
Yeah, I do believe you are correct about that. And we're seeing the intricate Baron dance going down now, and I'm not sure that Fortnite is actually going to be able to stop them. You know, they do not have good ward coverage. They do not have eyes on it. They're relying on Dan to throw these saplings, but there's a ward over the wall, so they're just going to poke him, prod him a bit every time he comes near there. And now we're going to see that Baron going down. Dyrus going to go ahead and start. He does have Phage now. He's going Frozen Mallet next with that Giant Spell. I mean, he's going to be a huge problem to kill. He's got 220 damage.
Mom, Malmortius, and Phage. We see a bunch of action. Everyone's, oh wow! Din comes in there, and it looked that he was not quite able to affect the Baron Seal, which is unfortunate. Reginald flashes the wall and gets both Tristana and Gragas in his ultimate. Dyrus dashing over with the ward. Kog'Maw's going to pick up Bloodwater. A really great final artillery right there to pick that up. And we're going to see TSM pick up Baron and 2 kills. Fortunately for Fornot, Kennen, Gragas, and Tristana are all still alive. Unfortunately for Fornot, TSM did pick up Baron and is now pushing mid.
And now has nearly 10k gold lead, so they have been able to expand their advantage.
Yep, and it's going to see, you know, you were just talking about Dyrus with that almost frozen mallet and Maw of Malmortius, that all that health just makes his Maw even stronger, and he's just going to dash in on Tristana right there. They're going to take that middle inhibitor turret, and looks like they're going to push in on the inhibitor as well, virtually uncontested.
Oh, and they're just going to get out after that and take the advantage while they have it. And, you know, now we're seeing the problem. Fornot with their team comp really needed to get some advantages in the early game to prevent this really hard snowballing that champions like Kog'Maw can do. And it's just, I mean, Kog'Maw, Chaos is now 4-0-5 with 228 CS. And, you know, he's dead even pretty much with Tristana in Parole's credit. And as many of you players out there know, keeping up with Chaos in CS is no small feat.
No, it certainly isn't. And Chaos now picking up a QSS, so Kog'Maw is going to be even harder to kill. Not that he's necessarily hardy, but now even if you catch him, he's going to be able to get out of it. So that's going to make things more difficult.
For sure. Now, I'm kind of surprised they haven't had, obviously, because he hasn't had any deaths, Fornot hasn't had a great deal of luck getting down on Chaos. He has had really good positions, and Reginald has been there with those flash ults to keep people off him or to secure those kills before people can even get back to him. So, you know, that's a very safe pick considering he hasn't died at all so far.
Yeah, they've been really, really, really good at protecting him, and you saw him get pushed out of the fight over here by Baron in the river and get the kill on Bloodwater in that tribush above Baron with his artillery after the fight had already broken out a little bit. So Chaos has been in really great positions, and I don't know how often he plays Kog'Maw, but he knows him very well.
I mean, I personally do not know Chaos for his Kog'Maw play in particular. You know, usually, like, we saw that Ashe ban, you know, he's been playing a lot of Ashe recently, and, you know, in the past has played a lot of Caitlyn and Vayne. I think Vayne is his most played champion in ranked games at this season. So, you know, he is doing a very good job with Kog'Maw, though, and I'm sure he's been practicing a lot more Kog because Kog has become more of a standard pick in competitive play these days.
Yeah, Kog'Maw is a butterfly to be reckoned with. He's not a butterfly in this case, he's just a skeleton, but he's a skeleton to be reckoned with. We see an engagement going down on bot turret. Dyrus just leaping in there into the middle. Odd1's going to take the turret down, and Reginald's got his ultimate there. He's going to catch 3 of them in it. We're going to see a lot of heals being busted. Chaos picking up the kill on Kennen. We're going to see him picking up the kill on Bloodwater as well, and the rest of TSM is going to, or pardon me, the rest of Fornot's going to back off, and TSM is just going to keep pushing.
Yeah, and there's nothing that Fornot is likely going to be able to do. And Reginald flashes, but they're just going to go ahead and surrender. So that will be it for Game 1. TSM is up 1-0 in the series, and I wonder if we're going to be waiting a few minutes to see if Bloodwater needs to fix anything on his end in order to get this second game going. We will be back with you guys in just a little bit, so bear with us for the moment. We're going to put on some nice Area of Defect music. KDH is the lead singer of that band, right?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
That is correct. So we're going to put on a little AOD for you guys for a few minutes while we get the next game set up.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Walking the void, you see many strange things. Kog'Maw, Malzahar, Cho'Gath. Mortals of Runeterra, take heed, lest you be devoured. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. many years in the void walking. The stuff of nightmares don't do a lot of talking, especially with the null sphere straight to their face. Silence is golden, all up in this place. Now that I'm out, I'm trying to protect y'all. If they get their way, they'll naturally select y'all. It's ain't to decide, it's a full-will purge. Devour you whole with nothing but a nerve. But just rip walk, knew you can't slay me. It's really too bad that essence can't play me. Cleaning up scrubs on the fields of justice. Got 5 times chasing and still can't bust this. You a null and void, noob. You hatch that? Silence your mama showed her where my force pulse is at. Look upon the void, you can't put it behind your wear. Look upon me, the noob, I'm already there.
Want meat? No rest. More so empty, smell soft flesh. See you with all eyes. Can't fear. Got big surprise. It's time to break out. I'm through percussion.
Should,
New song? You look tasty. Sing along. Take a Polaroid picture, yeah, put it in the tabloids. Remember what it looked like before I got destroyed. My visions are malefic and you know they're legit. As was foreseen, second sour gains in. Fall through my nose zone straight into the pit. Bow to the void to be consumed by it. I cast 4 spells and guess what the void brings? Void things, they follow curses and destroy things. I don't have turrets, but sometimes I deploy things. Think we're good for a square, you're just a trapezoidling. My grasp will crush you with its suppression. Just wanna rule your planet, it ain't no obsession. Don't let your kids watch, have severe discretion while you putting time in the world's oldest profession.
Daylight burns, sunset of news, I'm the terror of the void. Now show me your soul. You darkness beckons, time I reckon to knock you up there. Get the head gone. Witness, we're devourment. Feast you, running the tower and get huge, watching you cower and mess yourself beat, taking a shower, man. Your race is a scourge of the world. My race, don't get a spit, girl. I'm tired of hearing your squeaky word voice. Quiet! I'm a gentleman too, don't get me wrong. I just do you, but you ain't that strong. Can't even stand up to the flow of this song. And now me and Kyle gonna nom. Is there anything we don't eat?
No.
Well, I guess there's no way to be safe then. Dig in. We're hungry.
Now I know it's scary wandering around up in here. You don't got no vision, and there's Udirs and Warwicks and Nocturnes running around.
You got Nunus, you got Trundles, you got Shaco, couple of Shakos. You thought the jungle was neutral? It belongs to us.
You can't see nothing.
You can't hear nothing.
You can't smite nothing. It's the jungle, baby.
When you're up in the jungle, you need animal instincts. I'll demonstrate it. Show you how my primal skin thinks. Tearing it up. Got 'em changing their pants. Got my crouching tiger. Show that dragon my hidden stance. Changing forms left and right like I was a Decepticon. Press tense in the team fight. Racing down the Autobahn. Not just any scrub can put I own ya on his back. Controlling the jungle. And I'm pulling ya on the track.
I'm looking by the river. Riding my Yeti and popping dragons like pinatas. Raining confetti. I'm creeping up on ya. About to have a tragedy. Doing the slow route. Need to borrow a machete. You're nervous and sweaty. While you're hugging your teddy. My blood is boiling. Cooking noodles from my eating spaghetti. Boil it up. Make it hot. Like the summer Serengeti. Cool you off with the snow. I'll slow you down. Get you ready for the troll.
I ain't sneaky, no need for stealth. Busy fighting creeps accruing my wealth. Dying next to me, restoring my health. You belong on the top of my pillar of filth. I know a thing or two about pain. Come on, let me show you like a lawn after it rains. And I'm gonna mow you, got another thing coming. If you jump me alone, I'll redefine your contaminated zone.
Lizards and golems and dragons, oh my. The canopy's so thick in here you can't see the sky. Battered with the bodies of champions who died. Welcome to the jungle, let's go for a ride.
Oh yeah, this is off the chain right here. Let's get Ramus up in here. Where he at?
Yeah, where is Ramus?
I don't know. They nerfed the Powerball, so he's a bit slow getting around.
Oh, there he is, coming out the side hatch. Hey, Ramus.
Yeah, what up, Ramus? You ready for this?
Okay,
All right, bring it down.
okay.
rap? Okay, well, we're out of time, so we're gonna let the girl do the chorus.
Okay.
Lizards and golems and dragons, oh my. The canopy's so big in here you can't see the sky. Loaded with the bodies of champions who died. Welcome to the jungle, let's go for a ride.
I'm your brother, so like that. Get your team fight where I'm gone. But suddenly I'm right there, you're paranoid. Cause I'm turning acolyte. Make you fight the candlelight. Wish you had Wiggles landed right, please. Money gigs on you at level 3. Fresh off a golem, I know you ain't expecting me. Trying to